I like tracking the shows that I watch, and I used to have a program written in AutoHotkey, like way back in the day, and I actually have a whole playlist on it if you want to watch my progression of show tracking programs. But now, obviously, I'm on Linux, so I can't use my HK program. I needed another one. And I recently wrote it. It's called Floral Barrel, and you can use it for yourself. So, let me explain the main idea of how the program works. The program will create three files in your home.local share floral barrel. The first one is current.json, and this contains all the shows that you're currently watching. As you can see, you have the episode property, the downloaded property, and the link. So there are a couple of features which are kind of like not perfectly stable, I guess. They won't work always, but they work often. So often in links, the last thing in the link is the episode value. So if you store your link without that value and then concatenate it with the episode, for example, you get the link to that episode. And same thing goes for downloaded. And the reason why downloaded is a separate thing is because you might have downloaded more episodes than you have watched, obviously. And then you update how many you've watched and how many you've downloaded separately, so it's easier to track. The next thing that we have is watched. Now this file will simply contain all the shows that you've watched or dropped. You can actually make the distinction. And there are commands to move things from your current watching to watched. We're gonna get to that. And then watch later is simply a list that contains what you want to, well, watch later. So let's get to actually using the program. What do we have here? First of all, we have two subcommands, show and watch later. In other words, Floral Barrel will actually modify those files to do those changes. And one important thing to realize, anytime you run a command that can modify one of the files, if you pass the git flag, it will also make a commit in the home.local share floral barrel directory. So that's like a nicer way that you can use if you want to. You're not required, by the way, to make commits to track something. And then you can push that directory to GitHub. And then you can push that directory to GitHub, for example, so you can easily share what you have watched with other people, which is very nice. Similar to how you would on a normal tracker website, but now you don't have to use a website and it's all on your GitHub page. But that's just a thing that you can do. It's not necessarily provided by the program. And if you wanted to push, the commits are done for sure, but if you wanted to push right now, you would have to go to the directory yourself and push, but I plan to implement a push subcommand to Floral Barrel. So let's look at show help to see what we can use in show. There are quite a lot of stuff. Now let me go through each one of them. Remember how I mentioned that you can concatenate the link and the episode? Well, the watch and download subcommands are exactly for that. If you call Floral Barrel show watch and then specify the show in the -s flag or --show, for example, One Piece, that will open that show in your browser. I lied, it actually prints the link to stdout. So if you wanted to open it with your browser though, you would have to pass -o. To actually open the show in your browser, you would have to use the tag O. Tag? It's a flag, and here we go. We opened the show in our browser once it actually loads up. I'm not sure if I can actually show this on YouTube because it's a pirated website, obviously. Like, I'm a One Piece watcher. Am I going to pay for my shows? Hell no. Not like I can anyway. Regardless, you might have noticed that it actually opened episode 855 while it's 854 here. You probably didn't. If I was watching a YouTube video, I would probably not pay that much attention, to be fair. So the thing is, it's not very helpful to open the episode that you have already watched in your browser. You probably want to go to the next one. So what this program automatically does, it gives you the link to the next episode. And the same thing goes for downloaded. So both the episode and downloaded properties are for episodes that you have already finished watching or finished downloading. So then the watch and download subcommands can just open the next one, which is very convenient. I also had a similar idea in my AutoHotkey program as well. Let's come back to see all the other things that we can use. Right. If you ever forget what flags a subcommand has, you can use --help everywhere or just -h to look at them, because like the watch subcommand, show watch, has -o, for example, to open the link in your browser. I very much recommend looking into the help pages to make sure you know all the functionality and can use it effectively. But let's right now delete this and see all the other things that we can see. So sometimes the link does not end in the episode, so you can't use show watch and show download because, well, it wouldn't work. It's not as predictable as we would like, and for that reason you can just use show link, as it's shown here, to simply print the link. Literally without concatenating it with anything. The best case is that you never have to use this subcommand, but sometimes you'll have to, and it's just there to be able to, you know? Now we see finish and drop. So say you watch Daredevil and finish the season. At least the way that I do it, I add new shows and specify the season. Once I'm done with the season, I finish the season. But you could also do the entire show. Completely up to you. So maybe I finish The Boys, which I doubt I will ever do. That show is so anxious that I really can't watch it. So say I finish The Boys, what I would do is something like Floral Barrel or Facebook, Lamau, show finish or drop, then -s, and then I type in the name of the show, so The Boys 2, and now it's gone from there and it appeared here with the dropped flag. So the only difference between finish and drop is that if you drop, you have this text there, basically to specify that I didn't actually finish the show, I dropped it, which I think is a very important piece of information. And by the way, I watched both of these fully. They're in my top 1, both of them. I dropped them on rewatching, if anyone is wondering about that. And this was amazing too. So I purposefully didn't make a commit because I don't actually want to drop The Boys yet. Maybe I'll come back to it, but if I put -g or --get here, it would make a commit, which is very, very convenient. You can actually just use the --get flag always if you always want to make commits, because if you do something like show list, which we're gonna get to, it won't make a commit because it doesn't change any file. --get only commits if some file gets changed in some fashion. So you don't have to worry, you can just use --get always, maybe like make an abbreviation to use --get always. But maybe there are some changes that you don't actually want to commit, and that's where having a flag really comes in handy, because you get to decide when you use --get and when you don't. I mentioned show list, let me show it off. So you don't actually ever need to actually look at these files. That's terrible speech from me. Yeah, you don't have to look at those files because there are subcommands specifically made for you to be able to look at them. Show list just gives you the current shows, all aligned, nice and perfect, and if you provided the -l flag, it will also show the links, which you generally don't need because you need them concatenated with the episode, but maybe you just want to check, like, is this the correct link? Okay, it seems to be, you know? We had a look at the current file, output it to our terminal. Now we can use show past to essentially just get the entire file of all the shows that you watched in the past. So this is essentially the same as opening the file like this, but you get it in your terminal. You can do some actions on the text. Maybe you can do something like tail to just look at the last ones. Basically, you get to decide. This is like a very simple feature. Now, let's say that you wanted to start a new show. Okay, in that case, you do Floral Barrel, new. And actually, let's say I don't remember what I actually need to type in here, so I use help. After specifying show new, very important, so start a new show, you can specify the link optionally. You don't actually have to, but you probably should, and a show name. So the way this works, show new, and then -s, here you go, a test. So the show is named Testicles, and let's say this link is https blah 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 blah. So basically you add the link without the episode. If it ends in like the episode number, remove it preemptively, so show watch and show download work correctly. But if it's not something as simple, you just enter the entire link, and here you go. And after you would do it, it would appear in your current.json, which once again, you don't really need to look at the file itself ever, because there are commands to work with it. we have finish and drop to, well, finish and drop a show, and that moves the show to your watch list. What if you added a show and then recognized that, oh, actually, no, I made a mistake. That's not what I wanted to put in there. Maybe you misspelled the name. In that case, you could use remove, which just removes the show from current.json without putting it in your watch list. Also quite convenient, the same way as link is. Not going to be used often, but convenient otherwise. Now, set you can use to, let's actually look at it as well. You can use set to set any property of a show. So maybe you watched some new episode, you do floral barrel -g, show set episode -s is the show name, -e is the episode value, because we set episode. So I watched 852 episodes of One Piece, which is crazy. And boom, you do it like that. And -g would make a commit, which is very, very convenient. Same thing goes for set download, and there are aliases here that you can see. So episode or app, download or dn. So you can set how many you have downloaded, and there, like, you can decide whether you want to commit that or not. And you can update the link, maybe for shows that don't end in the episode value and are just straight up links. You would probably want to update the link like every single time, more or less. Now let's get to watch later and read the help page on that as well. You have a watch later list that you can add, remove, and list. So you do fb watch later list, and all it does is just print the file, the same as show past works. But the cool thing about watch later, I'm not gonna explain these because, well, you probably can guess what they do. Start. So what if you have some show in your watch later list, for example Golden Boy, and you want to start watching it? Your immediate reaction would probably be, oh, right, I fb-g show new-s blah blah blah, but then you would have to remove from the watch later list as well. What you can do instead is -g watch later start, and then you specify the show like this, I think. But I'm not sure, so let's look at the help page for it. So yes, indeed, you use -s and then -l, same as show new, but why this matters is because you can remove this from your watch later list and add it to your current.json at the same time, where usually you would have to do 2 commands to do this action. So it's just a nice shortcut. And I also intend to make watch later finish and watch later drop, maybe like for movies that you don't really need to put in your current.json because you just immediately watch them and want to both remove them from your watch later list and finish/drop them. But that's going to be in the future. Maybe by the time you're watching this video, this is already a feature. I edit very slowly, so that's probably going to be the case. I'm gonna leave a link to this project in the description, obviously. You can either, if you're on Linux, just grab a release here, or if you have Rust installed, you could use cargo install floral barrel. And I very much recommend reading this README. I explain maybe more in depth how this program works, but this video is like an addition to this README, so you can understand with clarity how this works, and also some things may change or be added in the future, which will be reflected in the README and the help pages. So, if you enjoyed this video, consider following me on Mastodon. Leave a like, press a like, type some comment, maybe have a question or a suggestion. Definitely subscribe so you don't miss my content, but most importantly, stay fresh, cheese bags, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye!